We're not over here. Fuck you.
Let's go. Come on.
Come on, Al. Come on in.
Man, we'll do the same thing.
Only a few that really get a chance to tell the story for real, you know? So, you know, you think and you know certain shit like that coming. It's only a matter of time, so it was just like, man.
Though 051 Melly's days of wreaking havoc on the streets of Chicago are behind him, the gravedigger managed to carve his name for eternity into the annals of the local gang scene. During his prime, Melly was a force to be reckoned with, boasting a kill count in the double digits. However, death doesn't spare anyone, and for Melly his last moments came knocking when he least expected it, and that too, in the most brutal way imaginable. Just how was one of the deadliest BDK members taken out? And more importantly, who was responsible? These are the last disturbing minutes of 051 Melly. Born on November 19, 1991, real name Yarmul Williams, the young gangster faced the harsh realities of life from an early age. He grew up in the Randolph Towers, better known as the Calumet Buildings, along with his brother Wu, sister Ken J, and notable gang members Lil B, Lil Rob, Lil Reese, and Fredo Santana. Wu and Melly shared the same mother, Angie B, but had different fathers. Unfortunately, Melly's father largely remained absent from his life. In these circumstances, Melly found a role model to look up to in Wu's dad, Jerome Golden, a prominent member of the Black Disciples. Melly's uncle G Slim, a member of Never Leave My Brother's Gang, aka NLMB, also shared that role. And so as Melly's family struggled to put food on the table, Yarmul eventually found his sanctuary in the streets in 2008, like most boys his age. Though many expected him to join the BDs, since his cousins TIMB Courtney and Tim B. Court both belonged to the same gang, Melly chose a different path. He attended Deuceable High School, where he ended up getting close to some dudes from Mickey Cobras. He also struck up a friendship with 051 Money Gang member and KTS Vaughn's cousin 051 Zico. What's more though, Melly originally hailed from the Calumet Buildings. He had to relocate to 59th and Calumet later, an area controlled by 051 following the demolition of the complex, and it's here that many believe where Melly first started running with the crew. Interestingly, Melly's unique circumstances are the very reason he was pushed to the forefront of the gang scene. Despite being a 051 member, he had no problem hanging out with the BDs given his family's connections, a rare privilege that not many can enjoy. Unfortunately, Melly got a taste of the street life early on as his close friend Zico was taken out by THF 46 member Aki, and so driven by sorrow and loss, Melly hit the streets with a thirst for revenge. With a troubled family background and the loss of a close friend, many suspect that the harsh realities of his life might have pushed him over the edge, because soon after that it didn't take Melly long to catch his first body. Back in February 2012, Melly asserted his dominance in the streets by taking out Shaq, a member of rival gang 600. Shaq's death was a fatal blow to the gang, and just like that, Melly had succeeded in striking fear into the hearts of his enemies. Unfortunately for 600 who were itching to even the score, Melly seemed untouchable. To add salt to his ops wounds, Melly was residing in 600's territory around that time, and so he continuously mocked his rivals for not being able to catch him even on their turf on social media. He also boasted about taking out Shaq in a tweet, writing, "LOL, who caught Shaq in the alley with his out, LOL. Melly's false sense of bravado could be attributed to the fact that he belonged to 051, one of the most powerful gangs in Chicago at the time. While most sets controlled an area of 2 miles, 051 asserted its dominance across 3 miles, forcing ops to think twice before messing with them. Yet despite the allure of power and prestige, Melly's journey ahead was marred by the haunting specter of loss. In 2014, the young gangster lost his mom to cancer. Following the tragic loss, Melly had no choice but to crash at different places. He stayed with his grandmother Alicia for some time, and when the stakes got higher, he crashed with his uncle Jeffrey Campbell, aka Kurt Mack from Mubu, and OTF Twin from Lamron. He also briefly lived with close friend Mubu Crump and Bezu from THF 46. Unfortunately, death cast its grim shadow over Melly's tumultuous existence. His uncle Kurt Mack was shot to death in 2017 by Rome from THF 46. Meanwhile, his friend Mubu Crump was taken out outside a party in 2018 by Lil T. Interestingly, Melly was standing right beside Crump when his op rained down a barrage of bullets. But it was not the gravedigger's time yet, as he survived the bullet grazing his head. As for the local gang scene, the beef between 051 and THF was taking a dangerous turn. The death of 051 member, Loss, real name, Carlos Merrills in 2008, ignited a fire that continued to rage on for years, with both sides retaliating to settle the score. And at the center of it all was Melly. He emerged as 051's formidable spear, avenging fallen comrades and giving rivals a taste of blood. Driven by a strong sense of loyalty to his gang, Melly pursued his enemies relentlessly, even BDK members, making him a BDK renegade, a term used to describe someone who's not afraid to go after members from his own gang if they dare cross him. By now, Melly was hailed as a fearless shooter on the streets and a chess master who carefully planned out his moves. Still, his ops showed no signs of wavering. Following the death of Shaq, the BDs avenged their fallen comrade by killing 051 member, Fats, who happened to be a close friend of Melly. The loss proved to be heavy for the young gangster, and so he paired up with homie Kiddo to dish out some lessons. The pair executed their plan by catching 600 tricks lacking in his car in the Washington Park neighborhood of the South Side on November 1st, 2012. Shortly after, L.A. Capone was taken out while leaving a recording studio on September 26, 2013. Many believe he was targeted by 051 for being present at the scene at the time of Fats's death. As a rising rapper, L.A. Capone was the BD's pride and joy. Naturally, his death shook the very foundations of the gang, pushing them to take action against 051, who were growing bolder in their actions by the day, thanks to Melly. And so a verbal spar ensued. Several 600 members took to Twitter to disrespect Fats's memory to get under Melly's skin, but Melly was not easily shaken and clapped back at his ops without showing any signs of wavering. Needless to say, Melly was public enemy #1 for the BDs, and so, holding on to the principle of an eye for an eye, the BDs went after Lil Mark, 051 rapper who was climbing the charts. He had just released his remix of Lil Durk's song No Competition, where he openly took shots at his ops in lyrics like, "Catch it. Yeah, if he reppin' Folly Boy, pop his real quick like a Molly boy. All my young down to catch a body, boy 50 strong. Yeah, you know I mess with folk. Got a bag, then you get poked. Yelled, why, you get smoked. Yelled, you get smoked, gang." Interestingly, 3 days after releasing the diss track, Lil Mark was gunned down while standing at a bus stop on the 300 block of East 51st Street on March 28, 2014. According to reports, a van filled with Block 600 and Folly Boys pulled up on the rapper and rained down a barrage of bullets, catching him off guard. Unfortunately, Lil Mark passed away on the spot. Following the incident, BD member Lil Durk didn't miss a beat to mock the rapper's demise. He got on his ops' nerves by releasing a video of him at a bus stop, calling it a really special place.
Hey, this bus stop right here though, this a real famous place, yeah? This is a real famous place, B. Hey, this bus stop, that's a real famous place, B. I ain't gonna lie.
As far as disrespect goes, Lil Durk had crossed the line, and so 051 began planning their revenge. And as fate would have it, 2 months after the incident, an opportunity presented itself in 2014 when Lil Durk left his cousin, OTF Newski, alone in a car parked in the 700 block of East 87th Street. Little did Lil Durk know that Melly and his comrade were waiting around the corner. With Durk out of sight, the two men leaped into action and open-fired on the vehicle, leaving Durk's cousin with multiple injuries. Unfortunately, Newski did not survive his gunshot wounds and Lil Durk suffered a major loss.
How did you feel when you heard about the news?
Like regular, it's like regular. Emotional as hell.
How many of your friends do you think you lost to violence? You know?
Like 20.
20 friends?
I think like 20.
But Melly wasn't done yet. As time went by, he descended further into the darkness, his footsteps marked by a trail of bodies. Vengeance became his only currency, a means to reconcile the injustices inflicted upon him. And so, to even the scores, he targeted OTF Chino next, who served as Lil Durk's manager. On the fateful day of March 27, 2015, Chino was peacefully enjoying the afternoon breeze in his car on the 8,400 block of South Stony Island Avenue, completely oblivious to the danger lurking around the corner. Before he knew it, Melly was standing beside his window with a gun in hand. He fired multiple shots, with Chino taking one to the head. While Melly made his getaway, Chino was rushed to Advocate Trinity Hospital in the Calumet Heights neighborhood. Unfortunately for him, his fate was sealed, as he lost the battle of life. And just like that, Melly had claimed yet another body. According to the Chicago Police Department, the gravedigger is speculated to be involved in at least 15 murders from 2011 to 2019. Though Melly paraded the streets, spilling blood without any hesitation, the consequences of his actions would soon catch up to him. As the bodies piled up, the target on his back grew bigger, and the streets could only sit back for so long without retaliating.
And now an update to breaking news that we brought you at the top of the newscast. A man shot and killed at a home in Northwest Harris County. It happened at a home where a family was holding a party and an argument broke out. Unfortunately, Melly's luck eventually ran out. On the fateful night of September 1st, 2019,
The 051 member was due to attend a party at an apartment at the 6100 block of South St. Lawrence Avenue, an area that belonged to the Chicago faction Jarrow City. Melly didn't have too much to worry about since he was on good terms with the gang, or so he thought. Had he known about the events that would transpire that night, Melly might not have even stepped foot outside the house that day. Interestingly, attending the same party that night was one of Melly's ops, but since the event was being held to honor the memory of a fallen comrade, STL, whose life had been claimed by the streets like many others, Melly had no choice but to show up despite the warning. When he arrived, the party was in full swing. The house was packed with people dancing to tunes and drinking, and just like that, Melly let loose as well, giving in to the mood. But this is where things took a turn for the worst. The haunting footage of the incident reveals a man with a black shirt and a black cap in the bustling crowd. Yet upon closer inspection, his intent becomes chillingly clear. A calculated search, perhaps for someone like Melly. Then, in a heartbeat, the unthinkable unfolds. At approximately 2:45 a.m., the tranquility of the night is shattered by the deafening roar of gunfire. Before anyone knows it, there's a person on the ground, bleeding to death. Unfortunately, that person turned out to be none other than 051 Melly. What's interesting is that in the first few seconds of the clip, right before the gunshots sound off, you can hear a girl say, "Be calling me saying Melly died at a party," and within seconds, the exact scene unfolded before everyone's eyes. The girl's ominous words hint at a sinister plot, one where Melly was set up and perhaps stabbed in the back. Meanwhile, with the shots fired, Melly's fate now lay in the hands of those racing against time. People at the scene hurriedly rang 911. Melly was transported to the University of Chicago Medical Center for treatment once help arrived. However, despite the swift actions of the partygoers, Melly was no match for Lady Death. That said, he wasn't the only one who was injured in the chaos. A 34-year-old woman also sustained some injuries. She was later transferred to St. Bernard's Hospital, where she managed to pull through despite her wounds. As news about Melly's sudden passing made rounds, the air buzzed with one question: who had taken out Chicago's deadliest gravedigger? Investigators were all over the case, but were unable to reach a conclusion owing to uncooperative witnesses. Had they all chosen to hold their tongues in fear of the formidable culprit who took down Melly himself? Interestingly, Melly's close friend, FBG Duck, seemed to know what's up. Following the passing of his friend, he tweeted, "We talked for 2 hours one day, telling each other about these snakes. I took your advice and separated myself from the fake love. I wish you would have took my advice. You definitely hurt a lot of people with this one. Rest easy, gang." FBG words seemed to hint at disloyalty by peers in Melly's close circle. However, as time went by, more rumors surfaced about who mustered up the courage to shoot down one of Chicago's deadliest shooters and live to tell the tale. According to some allegations, the person who pulled off the impossible was none other than Nate 007 from Taekwon World. Though Taekwon World and 051 were on civil terms, the same can't be said about Nate's and Melly's relationship. As per reports, near the end of Melly's death, the beef had reached its boiling point. Melly allegedly shot up Nate's house, all the while the mother of his newborn baby along with the kid were present inside. Though no one was hurt during the shooting, Melly had made an enemy out of Nate, igniting fiery flames of rivalry that would consume them both. It's believed that Nate was looking for his chance to take out Chicago's most notorious shooters, all because of a meaningless argument. According to multiple reports, Melly and Nate had been out shooting dice together a few days before the party. However, the men ended up butting heads during the game, which is what led Melly to shoot up Nate's place initially. Fortunately for Nate, that night during the party in Jarrow City provided him with the perfect opportunity to settle the score. According to some sources, Nate spotted Melly from across the room at the party. The mere sight of his rival had his blood boiling, and before anyone knew it, Nate had drawn his weapon. He aimed at Melly and fired without giving it a second thought. Melly ended up taking multiple shots to the chest, groin, and abdomen. To add to the controversy, Chicago rapper THF Billa released Melly's story following the incident, a song that details what went down at the party through the eyes of the shooter.
This the Melly story, this what happened when he hit him up. I'ma tell you this, the story's sick, but real as fuck. I can't believe this shot me for some shit I did a while ago. I knew I should've clapped this fat a long time ago. This came and shook my hand. I wonder what he's smiling for.
THF Billa's fiery lyrics only seemed to confirm 007 Nate as the man who pulled the trigger. What's more, the song also seemed to confirm that Melly was indeed set up by the very people he trusted, since there seemed no other reason for Melly to let his guard down. He had been navigating the local gang scene since an early age and knew better than that. Interestingly, THF Billa also brought up Travis, a member of Jarrow City who had recorded what went down that night on his phone. The rapper further fanned the fire of controversy during an interview when he revealed that he had a run-in with one of his ops on the day of the shooting. And interestingly, this same person had a score to settle with Melly as well.
I had a run-in with the same he done had a run-in with the same day. So, you know, I just incorporated it in the song.
So have y'all ever bumped heads or anything? Or
Who?
seen you and Melly?
Nah. I ain't never bumped heads with Shorty, man. What happened to him, though?
Like, that's one person that it seemed like everybody I asked about, like, no matter from what side, like, dead.
What's more, as per the lyrics in the THF Billas song, Nate was the one who told Travis to capture the assailant on camera, hinting at a collusion between the two parties. Interestingly, not long after the incident, Travis would soon go on to join Melly in his grave. Many believe that Travis was taken out owing to his role in the hit on the gravedigger. However, as the streets buzzed with Travis's involvement in the death of one of Chicago's deadliest shooters, his brother came to his defense shortly after in an interview, clarifying that Travis had nothing to do with what went down.
My little brother loved all his homies, and he'll never do nothing to harm none of them. I know this for a fact, because the same way he loved them, I love them, you know what I'm saying, and treat them all like little bros. So any of that negative energy out there on travel, don't believe none of it.
And so, Melly's demise remains an open mystery. Meanwhile, those who mourned the loss of Melly came together in their grief and formed an alliance, the Melly Way movement. It was a historic coming together of 9 different sets who joined hands for one purpose, to avenge the demise of their fallen comrade. With 007 Nate being suspect number 1 in the case of Melly's death, Melly Way members patiently waited for Nate to be released from prison, getting ready to spill even more blood. At the end of the day, Melly's story serves as a poignant reminder of the relentless grip of the streets, where survival often comes at a staggering cost. Raised amidst unforgiving circumstances, Melly was molded by the harsh realities of his environment. From an early age, he learned to navigate the treacherous terrain, honing his instincts for self-preservation. Yet, as Melly matured and found his footing, he unwittingly became a target, a casualty of the very world that shaped him. His journey, fraught with peril and adversity, underscores the bitter truth that the streets can both empower and devour those who dare to tread upon them. And so, as we reflect on Melly's life, let us not merely mourn the loss of one life, but also ponder on the circumstances that perpetuate these cycles of violence and despair. May his legacy serve as a call to action, a rallying cry for change in the very fabric of our society. It is our hope that his documentary can serve as a beacon of hope and a small reminder to those who lost their lives while trying to make ends meet in a system rigged against them.